We're back in the studio.
We're back.
I always love being in the studio. Back again.
Yes, thank you.
Shady's back. Tell a friend. Yeah. I love that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, how's it going?
Good. Good.
Yeah.
Buns Burgers, big ideas.
BX3.
I thought I had a really big idea yesterday. I don't know about you. It's like a scorcher out there. It's so hot. So
Humid.
we were outside playing pickleball last night, and I'm just like, it was chaos.
Last night was
It
rough.
was sweaty. Yeah.
It was like humid and sticky until like literally 11 o'clock.
I
It
lost
was
like 20 pounds just in water
Just in
weight.
water,
I
yeah.
swear to God, like I don't think I had an ounce left in me.
That's
So,
crazy.
Yeah, but I had a clear vision. I had
had
a
a clear
goal.
vision?
I was going to play my best.
Did you?
And I didn't.
You know, all this talk about pickleball, Eric.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for the championship, you know?
Well, maybe someday. Someday. Everyone's so good at it. I need to put more practice.
Yeah, maybe it's just more
I need to
practice.
tie my shoes more often.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had an amazing leadership meeting, right? So speaking of vision, speaking of trying to get our act together, right? Like we had our leadership meeting recently where we brought in all of the general managers, all the department managers, and we're trying to get everyone aligned a little bit.
Get everybody
what
on the
we're
same
trying to
page.
achieve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, when you're talking, hundreds and hundreds of employees, it's hard sometimes to make sure that we're aligned, right? Like consistently aligned.
And everybody has the same, consistency is right there. Because, like, the way I might describe our vision is different than how you might describe our vision. So, getting everybody, same words, same page, this is what we mean by this,
Right.
is important.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. But yeah, the follow up, right, and the constant conversations after that. But I know we've got a clip from Steve Jobs today, kind of talking about alignment and vision, and inspirational versus managing, and we'll get into that conversation. But I think it's a really good clip to say, as a business, people need to really know, right, what we're trying to achieve, and that's what I liked about our meeting. So why don't we play the clip, and then we can get a little bit more into it.
Absolutely.
The greatest people are self-managing. They don't need to be managed. If once they know what to do, they'll go figure out how to do it. And they don't need to be managed at all. What they need is a common vision, and that's what leadership is. What leadership is having a vision, being able to articulate that so the people around you can understand it, and getting a consensus on a common vision.
I really like the Steve Jobs movie. It was Ashton Kutcher.
I don't know if I've seen
You don't
it
know?
then. Yeah, I've seen clips.
It was good.
Yeah.
I liked it. I mean, I think he did Steve Jobs pretty well, but I
Sure.
also didn't know Steve Jobs.
What an amazing vision, though,
Awesome.
right? Like the fact that what he was able to do with the company and how they grew the company. And then, I don't know, like if you remember, but he left the company
He
for
did.
a while.
He went
and
to Pixar,
It
I
didn't
think.
go very well for
Yeah.
the company. Yeah, so having that strategic visionary, like, it's amazing.
It is.
It's amazing.
And the common vision there. And I don't know if I necessarily agree with the not needing to be managed part.
Sure.
I feel like some people need still a little bit of management.
Mm-hmm.
However, that becomes a whole lot easier when everybody knows what you want and
Yeah.
what the vision is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where over the next, 4 to 6 months as a company, what we're trying to do is put a lot of focus and attention on our shift managers, helping them understand what it is, right, that we're trying to achieve, more than just putting food in a bag,
Yeah.
right? Because running a shift, running a restaurant is a lot of hard work, and there's a lot of distraction, there's a lot of spinning plates, there's a lot of things going on. But we got away from, in my opinion as a company, we got away from really coaching people to help them actually do their job.
Yeah, we overprocessed a little bit and just added a little bit too many routines and too many things to where it's like, what are we doing?
Yeah. We'll have to have a whole section on predictable success. One of my most favorite books at this point, as far as just helping me align and us align, I think, around the company's goals. It's ultimately getting back to the people development side, right? And actually having conversations. And I know we said it during the meeting, but we're using this internal verification form, right?
Yep.
But it's more than a piece of paper.
Way more.
It's about the conversation behind the form, right? And I think this is true for just about everything and anything we do. There's lots of checklists out there, countdown to goes, readiness, right? Development
Other
checklists,
verifications for everything.
the crew trainer roadmaps, the shift manager. I mean, they're literally, there's checklists for this stuff. But it's about the actions behind the checklist. And I think as we move forward, we have to minimize the checklist to keep in mind that it is more behind it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's what I think is super cool about the internal verification is because while it does actually check the box and verify the things, to your point, it's the coaching tool.
Yeah.
And so it's not necessarily the score really at the end of the day. I mean, obviously you want to see improvement.
Well, yeah.
But improvement's going to happen through coaching. if I did the internal today and I did the internal tomorrow, I'm probably going to score the same.
Yeah.
But in between that, if Eric was like, "Hey Riley, that's not how you check the towel buckets," then I might actually, okay, now I know how to check the towel buckets, and I just keep getting better. And that's really what the vision is for us, is back to people development, and coaching.
Yeah, and that vision, comes with obviously the checklists and stuff. But I'm curious too. Like we had the meeting, we had over 100 people there. We had some different representatives from outside of our company come in and talk as well. Just inspirational, motivational. I thought every conversation was hitting on the head. But we were kind of joking before, like if you left that meeting not knowing what the vision was, like what does that look like to you?
Or not maybe not even that, maybe just not agreeing with the vision or not buying into it, or for whatever reason, maybe it just didn't feel like we were talking to you.
Sure, yeah.
But we were. And so what is that conversation, what does that look like inside those people?
Yeah.
And to me, I would say that's got to feel pretty weird. Like being in a part of an organization or a part of a vision that you don't necessarily agree with or understand, I'd be crawling out of my skin and be like, and talk to my supervisor, talk to my manager, talk to the VP, like explain, like, and maybe it's just, maybe I'm missing something, you know?
Well, and that's what I would hope for, right? Is that those maybe who don't understand or fully support the vision at this point, I think that's okay, but it's not okay if you just sit
there.
Yeah. Yeah, like you have to ask.
Because now you're kind of just in spite of the vision,
right?
Or in spite of the goals that we have as a company. And then if that's the case, then sorry, we don't really need you.
Is that where like you'd be living in like this purgatory type thing? Like I maybe
just waiting for the other shoe to drop type conversation.
Well, and that's the problem, right? Is
and we don't want that.
We as an organization have aligned visions, and as we've kind of gone through this, whether we call it more like the wildly important goal, vision, mission statements, whatever kind of jazzes you or your organization. When we've aligned on certain things and we've stuck to those, we've been really successful. So I think for our team, it's easier to say, okay, I may not fully understand it, but I get it, and I know before you've led us, right? And we're going to be okay with this. But yeah, I would go back to just talking more and more about what that vision is, because there's a lot of things that we get to see, right? You and I get to see about the organization that sometimes when you're in that one restaurant, you maybe don't
silo
see,
mentality,
right?
Yeah.
So maybe it's not as pertinent to your restaurant. Right? Like maybe not.
Yeah.
But what if those managers are going to go work at other restaurants? What if they become a general manager for another restaurant? Like that's where, no matter where I think you're at from your development side, whether your restaurant needs a lot of shift manager development or if your managers are passing them already. How do we build that even more for the future? Because we all have opportunities. We talk about it all the time.
Yep.
But we can't just have conversations at the landing zone where it's a 30-second conversation. Hey, you should do better at this or that. We talked about the they mentality during the meeting too.
They don't do this. They don't do that. They don't help me.
Yep.
It's and at that point it's a lack of accountability too on their part. But
yeah, but I think that's where we have to first own it, right? So show me you've had the conversations. That's where the checklist then comes in.
Yeah.
Show me you've taken the time to train them to your expectations. Show me that you've had the conversations more than just at the landing zone. Show me that you've had a better conversation than just via text saying, why were your numbers not where they need to be, right? Like, let's actually take the time to develop our people. Let's get them to tie their shoes. That way, when they are on their own, right, they can actually run the shift the way that you want them to do it.
They can run a great shift. And now, all of a sudden, you're freed up to do a whole lot more things as a general manager.
Exactly.
Doesn't that just sound awesome? Like, who wouldn't want that, though?
Well, what am I supposed to, like, but that's the fear, too, right?
Yeah.
And I know we can talk about this more, but the fear is if I let you do what you're supposed to be doing, then what am I supposed to do?
And then that's on us then to tell them what they're supposed to do.
But I'm going to tell you, like, it's funny because the more you delegate, the more there is on at least on
you've said that,
Yeah, the more there is on my plate, the more you get to see, the more you get to observe and react and build the business, because our general managers and our department managers, right, like we can't be forward thinking if we're still so stuck in
today.
The day-to-day stuff.
Absolutely.
So,
I've got one more thing before we wrap up this episode. I know we're getting close, but I wanted to bring up micromanaging just because, you know, they're in this industry, or honestly any industry, there's a lot of micromanaging styles out there still.
Yeah.
And I know that's going away kind of, but what's cool is I just want to relate it to kind of what we've been talking about with our vision. We're not micromanaging. We're very much the coaching, the coach. we're here to support
Yep.
for whatever you need. And I just wanted to make that clear, I suppose.
Yeah, and I don't think you have to micromanage as long as your vision helps you get to where you want to be.
Yeah.
And yes, we're requiring so many internal verifications. Yes, that might feel like we're
That's just-
micromanaging, but
that's just-
that's just the goal, the
how to
ambition,
get there.
The show me that you're working towards your vision. And I'm going to tell you, ever since we started really saying verify, coach, train, and work with your shift manager, we've seen a lot more success, right? People are starting to be more comfortable with what their position is. They're starting to be able to troubleshoot. They're starting to be able to make decisions, right? Like you want people to be able to not have to think, right?
This is second nature,
and it can't become second nature if you don't consistently coach to it. So that's why I'm excited. I'm excited about the next 3 to 4 months of really hitting the ground and saying, okay, we're going to coach and we're going to take the time and we're going to develop our people.
Absolutely.
Because there's so much more coming down,
And it's just going to get. It's just it's very exciting. It's very exciting. Once again, our vision is to empower and develop our team to deliver world-class service on both sides of the counter.
Yep.
So empowering them to make decisions and to lead their shifts, and then developing them to make sure they have the tools and knowledge to do that.
For sure. That's why this is like a really exciting time, because we're going to take care of the people on our side of the counter so they can really take care of the guests on their side of the counter.
How it should be.
So, yeah.
Well, thanks for the conversation. Listen, learn, lead. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for joining us on Buns, Burgers, and Big Ideas. We hope today's episode inspired fresh ideas for your leadership journey. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode, and keep learning with us as we continue to explore leadership in the QSR world. Until next time, take care and lead well.